Well, silver is the main topic of many conversations. We're going to be talking about silver today. In fact, could Russia's central bank be buying silver and influencing the price? We'll talk about that and more today. So thank you for joining me. I'm Ric Bender, and welcome to Finance Lab. Well, there's a lot of conversation going on today around silver, and we're going to add to that conversation. Is Russia's central bank buying silver? Are they influencing other central banks? And ultimately, are they influencing the price? We'll get to our main story in a moment. But I want to begin with some conversation and news around the Federal Reserve. As you know, Jerome Powell has been referred to the DOJ in reference to this $2.6 billion remodel. It is a little bit elaborate. I mean, that's a significant number. And when asked concerning previous remodels, it seems as though he forgot or didn't know. But Wall Street, they don't want to see Jerome Powell go. In fact, they're worried that they will lose their independence. I believe that they proved they were not independent during election season when they lowered interest rates just in time to get out and vote. But if they are independent, like we are told they are, if they're an independent organization, and why do we foot the bill? It's time for a change, and this is why so many are asking for an audit. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent the other day said the Fed should be audited in terms of its operations. Rand Paul just made an announcement that he wants to go much further. I want to share a post on X with you right now. Rand Paul says this: "No institution has more power over your money than the Federal Reserve, yet it operates in the shadows. My Federal Reserve Transparency Act will finally audit the Fed's books, expose wasteful spending, and hold them accountable to the American people." I know we're all screaming, end the Fed, at least fix the Fed. And I know Judy Shelton wants to fix the Fed, and she's sharing her ideas quite a bit. In fact, the other day on CNBC, she said this concerning the Fed, quote, "If American people knew that the Fed was paying billions in interest to foreign banks, they would be outraged. The American people should have known for years." When Rand Paul says they operate in the shadows, that is an absolute truth. Quite honestly, they need to clean up this Fed and/or end this Fed quickly. Now, news out of Japan and precious metals. Let's say you have an account and you're making consistent deposits to ultimately accumulate enough to redeem gold. Well, many in Japan have accounts like that, and they just got a notice of a change effective December 16, 2025 from Tanaka Precious Metals. Tanaka Precious Metals announced a service change starting December 16, where at the time of canceling their gold accumulation plan, customers will only be able to receive cash and will no longer be able to take physical delivery. It seems possible to request physical delivery before cancellation, at least for now. So apparently, Tanaka Precious Metals is actually suffering in terms of getting delivery of the metals. This is a big story. I want to talk about silver now, a couple different stories. One is from a post in X, which, well, it isn't accurate. The governments of the world are more afraid of a new silver standard than a new gold standard. After all, they do own some gold, but they don't own any silver. It is important to know that gold accumulates and silver essentially is consumed. But as a reminder, throughout history, it was silver, not gold, which was used most often as money. So most of the statement is accurate other than central banks not owning silver. This is a story out of Forbes, and this is a story we need to realize. Central banks do buy silver, not to the tune that they buy gold, and not that we hear about it that much. But a big story is coming out of Russia. This was published by Forbes. Here's the headline: Silver might be benefiting from Russian central bank buying. I'll put a link in the description below. I want to share a little bit of this article with you, though. Silver is moving out of a long shadow cast by gold, its precious metal sister, with hints of a major new buyer, Russia's central bank, starting to influence the silver price, which has risen to a 14-year high. Is this central bank in Russia, as they are buying, are they influencing other central banks, and are they influencing the price? It would seem so. Data is scarce, but since Russia revealed a plan late last year to add silver for the first time to its state reserve fund, the silver price has outperformed gold. So what we're seeing is, from what I can find, that Russia's central bank is buying silver as an investment. Different spot on the balance sheet, if you will. Part of the reason for silver's 30.6% rise since early January, compared with gold's 27.5% increase, is a simple case of silver trying to catch up with gold, which has been a commodity sector star for the past 3 years. There are also signs that the investors have hit the pause button on gold, which has more than doubled since 2022, driven initially by central banks buying, with private investors later entering the market. Well, Forbes, we do see central banks continuing in their purchasing of gold. However, silver has been slower off the mark, lacking buyers with the firepower of central banks or well-funded exchange-traded funds and rich private buyers. But if the Russian central bank is quietly building a silver stockpile, which it seems they are, then it is possible to see other banks aligned to Russia following its lead. For instance, BRICS. BRIC nations, a loose confederation, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, are seeking to break the stranglehold held by the US dollar on world trade. Part of BRIC's plan is to accumulate gold as they look for a way to bypass the dollar. Though, with the gold price hovering close to an all-time high, that action has been hugely expensive. Silver, which has always been seen as an alternative to gold, even to the point of acquiring an unkind nickname of the poor man's gold, might enable members of the BRIC group to push on with their plan to break free of the dollar. When have we heard that on legacy media? Central banks, if you will simply do the search query, you will find that they are buying silver. Nowhere near the degree or the amount of gold. But this Russian central bank will no doubt have a tremendous influence. Last story. Remember this. Every year, over 95% of gold produced and refined is added to a surplus because gold accumulates. Every year, 100% and more of silver produced and refined is consumed by industrial demands. There are no surpluses, no stockpiles, no bailouts for when there is no silver left. Hey, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you spending time with me. If you like what we're doing here and you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. Maybe share this with a friend, and I look forward to seeing you next time.